Last open OTA before the Bears break for the summer. CHGO was there. We're going to break it all down for you right now on the CHGO Bears Podcast. Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast. It is Tuesday, June 10th. It is a beautiful day in Chicago. It was a beautiful day in Lake Forest, where the Bears had their last open OTA session, at least for us. I think they're done overall. I don't know. Maybe there's one more. I'm not sure what the hell's going on the rest of the week. But we were there for today. Adam Hoge, Carman here with you. Pat Norton was out there as well. He'll have everything covered on ALLCITY.com. Carm, how you doing?
Doing great, Adam. It's rare that I give stock tips on this show, and I'm not trying to be Dave Portnoy, just trying to be the best Mark Carman. But I just did get a information that CARM, C-A-R-M, is up 278.88% today. I don't know what that stock is. I don't know what it does, but I'm soaring in the markets today, Hogue. Know that. Be jealous of me. I'm amazing.
All right. Well, I want to see you soar on this show. How about that?
I'll do my best.
And then we'll really see if your stock is up or down, which, by the way, if you missed yesterday's show, we did stock up, stock down in the NFC North.
It's a great segment. Liked by everyone. You know, I'll tell you this. My stock was slightly down today because Crystal, who was, of course, promptly in on the chat, she knew that Caleb Williams was going to be here today. I thought that Caleb would have taken off for the summer, that Ben would have given him the hall pass. But there he was, working hard with the rest of the Bears out there. Crystal was right. Carm was wrong. Crystal knows the Bears. I know nothing.
Can we start with that? Because you weren't the only one. Like, we were walking out to the practice field, and there was like this, "Oh, Caleb's here" reaction, and I was like, "Yeah, the starting quarterback who's played one season in the NFL in a week where, in case anybody misses, last OTAs week, veterans did not need to be there. They were first of all, it's voluntary to begin with, but on top of it being voluntary, the veterans were all excused and basically told don't show up." It was really first and second year players and a few third year players, a couple other exceptions to that list, which we'll get into a little bit. But when I hear all that, and on top of what I've witnessed the last few weeks with Ben Johnson all over Caleb's ass in practice, why in the world would you think that he would get a hall pass and not have to be there this week?
Well, because he is not a rookie. He is a second-year player. He has been in the building for a long time. This is a good point in time to recharge. And, you know, some of the great players were not there today, namely Tyson Bagent and Case Keenum. So I just figured that he'd leave this one to Austin Reed to run around and maybe even give Rome the time off. And like, let's let this be the JP Richardson show. Let's see what you got, John Jackson. And as Hogue, for those of you in audio land not watching on YouTube, he's shaking his head, no. And yes, you were right. I was wrong, buddy. He was out there. He was firing away. I got a zillion notes on it, and there was some good and there was some bad. And Ben underlined once again that Bears got a long way to go, and things are actually moving along just fine at the same time.
All right, maybe this is the Coach Hogue coming out of me right now. And you informed me earlier today. Is this true that the Lions just completely canceled minicamp?
The Lions are playing in the Hall of Fame game. Dan Campbell, Mr. Bite Ankles himself, and just wants to hit everybody, has said, you know what? You guys won 15 games last year. Let's not forget about the fact that we lost in the playoffs and got bounced, and Jared Goff threw 3 interceptions, and we've got a new offensive coordinator, a new defensive coordinator, and a whole bunch of new things going on in Detroit. He's like, hey, take the time off, buddy. We got that extra week of training camp with the Hall of Fame game. That's what the Lions did, not Ben Johnson.
My neck's getting a workout right now, shaking my head. I think that's insane. I think it's insane the Eagles had one mini camp practice. They canceled two of them. Like, what are we doing here? Especially if you're the Lions. The Lions had two coordinator switches. I don't know the ins and outs quite yet. I will by the time, we get to training camp and stuff about who's learning what new offense here and there and what's going on. But I know there's a lot of change there in Detroit. I think that's crazy. I would think it would be crazy for anybody to think that Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze don't need to be at every possible practice here until they're off for the summer, which is now the case until I think we're somewhere around July 20-ish. They'll be coming back for training camp.
I completely agree with you, Adam. I think they should have been there. I was glad that they were there. I just, maybe I'm just having PTBD, post-traumatic Bears disorder, post-traumatic flus disorder, from watching them in training camp. Remember when they were walking around at 1 mile an hour simulating plays, and it like when they were doing that, and people were like, "Yeah, this is normal." Like, that's not normal. Why are they doing that?
They're still doing that. We're just not out there for it. It's called a walkthrough. It's called a pre-practice walkthrough.
No,
I saw them doing it a couple weeks ago as I was walking from the parking lot.
They did it more than it was like the whole practice. It was like 40 minutes of just strolling around out there.
It was a little abnormal last year. I will hand you that, but I also think it was just sort of a byproduct of what time they were letting us out there on the field. Regardless, school's out for summer, unless you're CHGO, because we never stop. I will say, like, this used to. You could tell there's some media members, and congratulations to them in that room today. They were like, "All right, see you in 6 weeks."
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. I'm texting you next week. You're going to join us on CHGO Bears on July 12th.
Well, not on July 12th for you, buddy, because I saw your message. I'll see you. I'm gone from July 2nd to the 18th. Have a good 16 days without me.
Yeah, but my point is, it used to be mini camp was over, and I'd be on a boat in 12 hours after that, and then it would be real. See you when training camp starts.
Well, right, but so I mean, to the Dan Wieters and the Brad Biggses and the guys that actually have to grind out articles every single day. Not that we're doing.
Brad wasn't even there today.
Well, good for him. What we do over here, I mean, it's difficult. I mean, we're digging ditches, and I'm underground every single day with the workload. And if Brandon Spano is watching this, I want him to know how tired I am. But that being said, those guys that have to produce 1 article, 2 articles a day, Pat Finley, they deserve this. They need 6 weeks off. That's a big climb. So good for them.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Sure.
All right, let's jump into best and worst is what we do when we see a practice and we come back to recap it. That's what we're doing here on the CHGO Bears podcast. Best and worst. Let's just get out in front of this one because I already know what's going to happen, and I'm probably going to be a part of it. I think the training camp darling of this year, when the fans all get out there and they get a chance to see these guys, is going to be number 26, J.P. Richardson, 5'11" wide receiver, rookie, undrafted rookie out of TCU. He fits all your usual white wide receiver criteria for this award that goes out every year. But that being said, the dude makes a lot of plays, and on a day where you had Rome Odunze and a bunch of random young first and second year wide receivers out there, J.P. Richardson had a nice little day. He pretty much he made an insane catch on a pass that was like, I don't know, an inch or two overthrown. Like if he was throwing it to anybody else, it would have probably been right in their hands. But because J.P. Richardson is a little bit smaller, he had to like reach out and sort of tip it back to himself, and then he caught it. Well, it was a nice play. So get your number 26 jerseys ready to go for training camp because that's going to be fun. And then the worst is this was funny because there were 2 people on the practice field that cared about this, and I happen to be one of them. But practice ended on what I would call a bad air horn. They use an air horn to signal the end of each practice period, and it was like a little like you must have pressed halfway down on it, and it sort of like squealed, and then it was just a bad air horn. You can't add practice on a bad air horn. I would have thought that Ben Johnson, the king of the details, would have said, no, one more play. That's just a bad way to go, into the offseason. And I said it to a few people, including you, and you just basically laughed at me. But Danny Marcano, Bears PR, he was doing the same thing, and then we merged and finally crossed paths, and we were the two people that were really upset about this. So shout out to Danny, the only two people out there that truly care about the details of how practice ends.
Yeah, no, I do think that Marcano and Hoge should open up an accounting firm, and you guys can delve into the details daily. It was very impressive. You guys were
that's going to be my fourth podcast.
Yeah, Hoge and Marcano and Hoge. The devil is in the details. I like it, and it was a bad air horn. I just would never have talked about it, let alone brought it to the pod, but you did. Congratulations. I'll give you my best today, and this man is making a name for himself. Ben Johnson called him out, and there he was, cruising across the end zone again, catching an absolute bullet from Caleb Williams. Welcome to the Bears, Joel Wilson, tight end extraordinaire, 86. I mean, you know, the 85 was a great podcast, but I mean, this might have to be the 85 and the 86. And this guy's unbelievable. Joel Wilson has a chance to make this football team. And he made it, Caleb, the pass was phenomenal. I mean, he was open, so it wasn't the most difficult throw he's ever had, but it was a P. Bang! Touchdown, Joel Wilson, touchdown Bears. That was sweet. And then on the downside, it was a real shame today that Metra and Amtrak had to stop their routes because Tory Taylor I don't know what was going on, but it was a woebegone effort by the punter as he was trying to put one down the sidelines, but he missed so badly that it went through the trees and nearly and it landed on the tracks almost, it seemed like. So, I mean, freight trains, Amtrak trains, Metro trains, I check your travel routes here because Taylor was so off the mark that I think there might have been a stoppage in the play. I'm kidding. It was fine. It was whatever. But, there's just not a whole lot of bad that you can find in the last day of camp. So Torrey had some absolute bombs today to the moon like he always does, but this one was off the mark. And I think that if there was a train coming, there might've been a slight delay over on those tracks on that particular punt.
It makes me think there was about a month ago, I got stuck at the Lake Forest station for about 20 minutes. And all I had to do was I'm going to the next stop. I'm going to Libertyville. And we sat there for like 20 minutes for Lord knows what reason. And maybe it was a football on the tracks. I never thought of that.
Yeah, it's on the board. And I mean, Torrey's just trying to push the envelope, and that's why he's going to turn out to be one of the greatest punters in the history of the NFL. Side note, best that everybody should know about is during the punting drills today, the up man was Kyle Monungai. And I would not have noticed this because why would you notice such a thing? But special teams coach extraordinaire Adam Hoge did, and he noticed that Monungai was calling out the
protector.
Was the personal protector, was calling plays. And this was I'll let you take it from here, Hoge, but you thought this was at least a minor development worth noting, and it was my pleasure to be standing next to Adam Hoge in the middle of practice at this point to have this pointed out to me so I could learn some football that I didn't know. And this was a moment, I mean, it's stunning because I know everything, but this one I did not know.
Well, yeah, I'll share this little tricks of the trade here a little bit with a little tip that I've learned over the years from both covering the team and then coaching special teams. But when you're watching some of these practices, you're kind of wondering, who's going to make the team, who's not, who's got the trust of the coaches is really a key way to think of it. But the personal protector on punt is the one that calls out the protection and the actual snap count. It's not the punter, it's the PP that does that because the punter's usually, considerably far behind the long snapper. And so that's a very important position because you have to trust. That's one of the players on the field that you really, really have to trust. So I always take note of which players are being put in that position as the PP because it's an early sign that, he's earned some trust. Now, that being said, this was a practice where the normal guys in that role weren't even there. So someone had to do it, but it's still a tiny little tiny little nugget that I was pointing out to Carm on the practice field today.
It was a good job. And Rogue Agent 88, we got you because I know that everybody at the end of the day really just wants to know how Caleb did and how Rome did, especially on a day like today. Quickly, Hogue, before we can delve into a little further, what's your grade for Caleb today?
B minus. I don't know. It was a weird practice. A lot of young guys out there. He had here. Let me give you an idea. They went to low. They did some low red work today. Red zone, that is. And I have interception, touchdown. 33 ran the wrong route. Interception.
Yeah. I started my notes today with Caleb picked, and then I wrote down the absolute bullet to Wilson. I have a Caleb intended for Rome, double teamed, incomplete. I have a Caleb held it too long, no one in the right corner. I've got after the touchdown to Wilson, held it forever on the next play to no one. Caleb to 26, JP Richardson, great catch. Caleb to 26, again, touchdown. And then my last note of the day is bad horn to end the practice. So I did at least write it down. It was an up and down. His arm strength is freaking awesome, Rogue Agent and everybody. It's fun to watch.
By the way, everything I just listed there was from 7-on-7 teamwork, and team was where he was hitting Joel Wilson. And I have 18-86 touchdown on a rope. And then I mentioned the JP Richardson catch as well. We'll break down more on Caleb Williams coming up here. We have Ben Johnson talking about Caleb and back-to-back questions from our guy at the Carm. And we're going to take the temps since this was a day about the rookies and the young players. We are going to take the temp on Colston Loveland and Luther Burden, the injuries they're dealing with, everything that they've missed. That's coming up next. But first, Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside is everything you need to elevate your summer. It's a one-stop shop for all your cannabis needs. Sunnyside has an expertly curated menu with over 100 strains to choose from, plus easy online ordering and in-store pickup. They have locations everywhere for you in the city, Wrigleyville, River North, out to the burbs, Champaign, South Beloit, and more. And if you're just starting out, Sunnyside has expert guidance for you. If you go into the stores, they have brands that we know you'll love, like Good News and Mindy. So visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders. And for existing users, use promo code CHGO50 for 50% off one Cresco Labs brand item.
And just like your favorite team needs that home court, home field, home ice advantage, Hogue Hockey, you need the home floor advantage. Empire Today is going to get you that. You are going to get the best floors in the history of flooring with their dedicated flooring professionals. They focus on flooring every single day. You're not walking into a big box store. You're not driving anywhere. They're coming right to your home with the top-notch professionals, and you can pick that right flooring, the right colors for your space. See how it looks with your furniture, your house, all the good things. Get the precise measurements taken, all your questions answered. No surprises. Empire Today, clear up front, all-inclusive pricings, and you can schedule that installation as soon as the next day. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. Some things are better at home. CHGO listeners, $350 discount when you use the promo code CHGO. You heard that right. $350 discount. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/CHGO for full details.
All right, Taking the Temp is brought to you by your local trusted experts at Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. Today we are taking the temp, the Bears' first 2 draft picks from April's NFL draft, Colston Loveland and Luther Burden, neither of whom have practiced in full. In Loveland's case, not at all. Burden has not practiced since rookie minicamp, when that was not really with the entire team. So it's been a bit of a bumpy start. They, of course, knew that with Colston Loveland when they drafted him. The Luther Burden thing was a little bit different. Let's do this. Let's hear some updates on both of these guys before we give our thoughts on where things stand. Luther Burden did not talk to the media today. Colston Loveland did. That's slightly interesting. Maybe I'll expound on that later. But let's, Steven, let's hear from Loveland first, since he's the first pick. And he gave an update today on kind of where he stands, what he's been doing, as he has not been practicing, but he has been walking around in a red non-contact jersey and doing some stuff on the side. Here's Colston Loveland.
Like I said, just working, catching balls, doing what I can, just doing whatever I'm allowed to do, communicating with the PT, coaches, and doing what I can, but yeah.
How much like routes and actually catching are you doing right now? Is that full route?
Yeah, I run routes, catch balls. Yep.
Yeah. Do they let you throw the ball back or not?
Yeah, I'm actually, became ambidextrous kind of, so I get to use both hands.
Can you lift, or is it?
Yeah, I've been lifting. Yep, yes, sir.
The lifting's a good update, because I feel like last time we talked to him, we said he wasn't lifting yet. So now what's interesting is Ben Johnson, they were both asked, are you going to be ready for training camp, right? And Loveland was like, that's the plan. Ben Johnson, did I write that down, was unsure if he'll be cleared for camp, but he basically said we haven't really gotten the update from the training staff, and they'll get all that before they leave for summer. So I didn't really get too concerned about that, but when he got drafted, the plan was he would be back and cleared to go for camp. Maybe it's a situation where they have to ramp him up, not to go back to Flus language, but remember, Flus like to do a lot of ramping. So we'll see with the ramp, how big the ramp is when they get back for training camp, Carman.
Yeah, the old Flusy ramp. We should have used that more when he was here. Okay. One of the more interesting things that Ben said about Colston, and this was not today, it was a couple practices back. Are you concerned about this? No, we've got a lot of weapons. It wasn't no, he's going to be back. It was no, we've got enough depth. Like, if it comes down to it that Colston, ends up actually missing real time, well, there's a guy by the name of Cole Kmet there, and there's a Joel Wilson who's coming along. He's not going that far, obviously, but I think it's pretty clear that, and he just said it today too, that who knows exactly when he's going to be 100% and can actually, be somebody that you can throw out there on an NFL field and feel comfortable that he's, knows what he's doing and can handle it physically. So it's going to be something to pay attention to at training camp. I think he ain't going to be hitting the ground running. I think that's pretty obvious.
Yeah. Well, thanks to my friend, Kevin Fishbane, friend of the show, who, showed me a tweet or a Blue Sky message or whatever, one of those messages I try to ignore. I guess he's like, you're getting called out for being too concerned about Luther Burden, which I thought was interesting, because I think that we've had a pretty decent discussion just about not the end of the world, but here's what he's missing. And I also thought it was interesting that I thought the head coach was even stronger than anything we've said on this show about what these guys are missing. Now, this was sort of in reference to both Luther Burden and Colston Loveland, but it was really everybody who's missing time. But I believe the question was answered specifically when it came to Luther Burden. So here's what Ben Johnson had to say about what Burden has missed.
He misses a lot. Anytime you're not out there, if you're in the training room when the rest of the guys are practicing, you're losing valuable time with your coaches, valuable reps with your teammates, the ability to build the trust that we're talking about. It's not just the coaching staff having trust in you doing the right thing over and over, but it's also your teammates. They got to be out there. They got to see you do it. They got to know that the guy right, left of them, that they're going to do the right things and they're going to make the plays when called upon. So, I think it's for everybody, and it's a shame that he got dinged up and missed all that time, because for a young player, it's really where you get the most reps and you can get better in a hurry that way. So that's really for every player on this team.
I hate to repeat myself, but do you anticipate he'll be good for training camp?
He will, yeah. Yep.
That was interesting, because that was a different answer than the Loveland answer. It was he will be ready for camp.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, is something else going on here? I saw somebody put in the comments that it is a contract thing. Well, no one's reporting that. I have no idea. That is odd.
Well,
Like,
for the record, most of the second round picks are not signed right now across the league.
yeah.
So there's some haggling going on there, and I think Brisker went through that when he got drafted too. I don't fully want to go down that road, Carm, but it does. There seem to be some differences here. One of which we see Loveland.
Right.
He talked today. I walked by him on my way to practice. He was walking the other way. He said hi. And I don't know. It's weird, but at the same time, the head coach said yes, Burden will be there for training camp. When it came to Loveland, I don't know yet. So I don't think in either of these cases I'm worried. But I think anybody associated with this team, a fan of this team, somebody who's covered this team, have been through these cases enough that it doesn't necessarily, you just don't feel great about it, right?
Well, let's just speak the obvious here. Luther Burden fell in the draft because of character concerns. The Bears were very happy to get him at 38, but a lot of teams passed on him where he thought he was going to go earlier. You would like a guy like that to come in and be perfect, be out there every day, be performing well, handle the media well, all the things. Luther's been a season already been a little bit odd. You still trying to figure out what the Bears have here in a very talented wide receiver in Luther Burden, but he's got to get out on the field. And he's got to kind of, I don't know what's going on. Maybe he's actually, maybe it's just an injury that he shouldn't be playing. Period. End of story. But if it is something else, that ain't great.
Well, and right. And this isn't, let's be clear, this isn't, at least has not turned into or looked like what, I don't know if Carmen, you've been following what's going on with Shamar Stewart, even today in Cincinnati, which is a bizarre, like this is an actual holdout. I mean, usually these rookies, even if their contracts are not done, and it's not until training camp that you see them not being able to practice because of their contracts. Because usually they have waivers and everything's cool and they'll be fine. This happened with Caleb last year. Caleb didn't get his contract figured out till right before training camp. Remember, that was like lingering to like almost the day or two of. But he still was out there the entire OTAs. Shamar Stewart's like blatantly just holding out right now over contract language. And he talked to the media today and he's just openly criticizing the team. It's unbelievable. I've never seen a rookie do this. It's crazy.
So, and it's funny because, I went up to Green Bay when they had the rookie day or whatever it was, the top 15 guys, and he was very entertaining then. And now I'm watching his press conference today, just sitting there like, I know I'm not wrong. This organization sucks. Basically, it was unbelievable.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, like,
I respect it.
Yeah, like,
not sure I would do the same thing, but I respect it.
I'm like, yeah. Are you mad at the Bengals? I'm not going to say that. You just did, dude. So yeah, Luther's not doing that. But it's just the way in which the way in which Ben answered that question on the agitation level 1 to 10. Was that a 5? Was that a 6? It might have been a 7. Could have been a 7.2er. He didn't. It wasn't. He wasn't all smiles there. Yeah, it's annoying. Miss the time. His teammates are not going to trust him. Coaches aren't going to trust him. He's got to get out there and learn, period. A lot of reasons here that it ain't great that he's not out there. Also, not the end of the world. I get it.
Not yet. No. But I think the part 2 take out of that is exactly what we've also said the last couple of weeks when this topic has come up. And it's like, at minimum, the reps matter. When you see how much they're honing in on the details of how these guys are lining up, exactly how their feet are lined up, the splits, distances, how the routes are run, the level of details that they've been honing in all the time, which is great and good. The same thing applies to Loveland too. Like you're gonna be a little bit behind, and it's gonna be up to these guys to figure it out. I liked an answer from Ozzy today. I forget, did we have some Ozzy sound? Why did I feel like you pulled something? I don't know if we have it right here.
I got Ozzy some clips here. Steve and I will upload right now.
No, you don't have to do. I'll just say that. But I asked Ozzy today about moving from the right side to the left side, and I thought he just had an interesting answer that's relevant to this conversation right now, because he basically said that if he was just playing on the right side, it'd be a little bit easier. I forget the exact word he said, but the flow, it might have been like just a sort of to flow. Okay, apparently we have it. Let's just play it. Here's, I think, both of our questions, and here's what Ozzy Trapillo had to say about it.
So you said that you spent a lot of the pre-draft process working on the left side, getting ready for that. But how did it go once you got out there in these practices?
Yeah, I think, it went well. I touched upon this in a different interview with new technique. It's, in a way, it's a little easier, I'd say, because I don't go flow state like I do, if I were to go on the right side. I kind of just get in those habits, whatever I've been taught for so long. So on that sort of foreign side, a little foreign, you're able to really hone in on the minor differences that these coaches want to see. And so I think there's definitely, benefits in that.
Is there anything that you're looking at, like, I need to get better, I know I need to get better at this now after being another long spin?
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff I think that'll always be the case, especially with the stuff that the coaches are trying to teach. There's always room for improvement. So, I mean, I'm just going to try and overall get better, especially in these next few weeks heading into camp. But, yeah.
Do you understand the offense part of it? Does it feel like you're getting what's going on, or is it almost just coming super fast right now?
No, I think, the coaches have done a really good job in terms of the installation. It's been split up. A lot of it's similar to college football. It's football at the end of the day. Different words, different lingo, slightly different technique, but it's all the same in essence. So, and they've done a great job installing it again. So I think hasn't been bad with all that.
Ozzy's hockey playoff beard looking pretty good, by the way.
Yeah, I don't want to go too far down this. I'm hoping that everything's fine with Luther Burden. It'll be great in training camp, but we won't forget this conversation. However, Ozzy Trapillo's been like the model. He's the exact rookie you want right now. Dude is playing every position. He's out there every day. He's smiling like a madman. He's joking around too, and he's just like, he's never going to say anything that will ever embarrass himself and or the Bears. This guy's like, this guy's perfect.
Same for Ruben Hippolyte, who we talked to today.
I love Ruben Hippolyte, except Ruben Hippolyte, upon further Carman investigation, he's a little tiny for a linebacker, Ruben Hippolyte. We can get to that later. But just real quick on Trapillo, I know why Ryan Poles loves this guy. Josh Bryan and WGN TV asked him about catching footballs when Caleb and company were throwing balls to the offensive lineman, and this was the smile on his face when they asked about that. I mean, look at that dude. That is the happiest guy in the history of the planet. Like, look at the dude just loving his life. Look at that smile. I mean, let's be honest. Dudes that have had their first moment in life and had to wait a long time for it, they're not even that happy at that moment. This guy was super happy catching footballs. I loved it. Big smile.
That's the exact same smile I have walking in the studio every day doing a show with you and Greg. Every day. It's definitely not the screenshot that Steven loves to throw up on the screen with resting Hoge face. It is that smile.
Yeah, that's a good one. Compare resting Hoge face to that guy. Who do you want? You want to work with resting Hoge face or that guy? This dude, if you brought him like a half a piece of cheese, he'd be happy. Hoge, you bring him a perfectly grilled burger, he'd be like, it's a little well done. Trapillo. I love Trapillo.
That burger better be medium rare.
Right.
I'm not even playing.
I don't think I know you're not.
Steven agrees with me on that.
Seriously, that's the happiest bear in the history of bears.
All right, we need to take another timeout. But that's where things stand with the top two rookies, and hopefully the next time we're talking about them, they're both ready to go and practicing come training camp. But in the meantime, we got more on Caleb to talk about. We got a picture of Ruben Hippolyte to show you as well, since apparently it's a rookie picture day here on CHGO Bears. So all that's coming up next. But first, summer is finally here, and I hope your home's air conditioning is up for the challenge. I know my neighbor's is. I hear it constantly. It's like, okay, it's 68 degrees. We can open some windows. But that's because they got theirs checked out by Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. They've been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Now is the time to get your air conditioning checked out. Four Seasons experts, they are ready to help you with AC installation, maintenance, and repair. And their expert technicians ensure you always receive reliable service. And they don't charge you more for service during nights, weekends, or holidays. So if you have an emergency, call Four Seasons. They'll take care of you. Schedule your Four Seasons AC tune-up today. Save $50 and enjoy a 1-year no-breakdown guarantee. Your trusted local experts are Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com.
And yes, indeed, Adam Hoge, summer is here. More sun, more light, and our friends at Factor want to help you out because they know you've got more time to do all the things that make summer so special. When you use Factor, number thing you don't want to be doing, you don't be stuck inside cooking. Factor's coming over, they're coming in. Chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals ready in just 2 minutes, taking the hassle out of eating well. Lose up to 8 pounds in 8 weeks with their Factor keto meals. 40 options across 8 dietary preferences on the menu each week. Calorie smart, protein plus, keto, all the good things. Reach your goals this year with ingredients you can trust. Convenience that can't be beat. Get started at factormeals.com/CHGO Bears 50 off. Use that code CHGO Bears 50 off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code CHGO Bears 50 off at factormeals.com/CHGO Bears 50 off for 50% off plus free shipping. Thanks to our friends at Factor.
So before we get into Caleb Williams here, let's talk about the head coach a little bit because he was asked about his summer plans, and I just thought it was a super insightful answer as we learn more and more about Ben Johnson, the ball coach, and he's balancing things too: a family, a move here, more responsibility as the head coach. So here's what he had to say when he was asked about the little break he's got coming up.
There's plenty of things here going on. I'm still tying down the loose ends of training camp and getting that schedule finalized. Had a good meeting with the coordinators here this morning on that. So that's really project number one there. And my family's coming in this weekend, so that's a step in the right direction. 4 months without them being here full time takes its toll. And then, be in and out of the office. I've always, whether it was as a position coach or coordinator, I viewed the summer as a great opportunity to get ahead a little bit. I think you can get some creative juices flowing as you start studying some of the tapes from around the league and some other places, maybe college ball. So I've had a process that I'm committed to, and so I'll be in and out of the office a good bit, and then at the same time probably get away for a minute as well.
Yeah, I hate these high performers. I swear to God, it's just so exhausting. What are you going to do? I'm going to relax. I'm going to take some time for myself. And at least he's going to it's the way he just said that he's going to take like 3 seconds off. When you have people like that, how can anybody ever how can you even sleep? Some psycho out there is just working 24/7, and that's what he's doing, and that's why he's Ben Johnson. That's why he's making $13 million a year, and that's why he's living the dream. I get all of it, but man, can we dial it down on the work ethic for a second at times, please? Thank you.
I respect it. I
know you do, and so do I.
No, I'm jealous because every time we get to this part of the year, I have a list of like 6 video courses and things I want to like learn more about football. I know, don't make that face, but I don't get to them. My point is I don't get to them. I go in this. Here's the one good thing about me when it comes to when I disconnect, I do actually disconnect. I'm very good at that. Like when I go on vacation with my family, I am not responding to your Slack messages that you never sent, Carm. So, then I just get like into that mode and I don't do half the things that I'm like, I'm going to do this, this, and this before training camp starts. And then I'm playing Scramble right before training camp before report day. That's how it goes every single year for me. So if he's really like, I'm going to take this much vacation time, my family's coming back, and then I'm going to start watching film on the rest of the league, good for him. And that's the coach you want if you're a Bears fan.
Good time to dive into the college tape. If I had said that like him, I would have puked on the spot. Last thing I'd want to be doing if I was him is checking out what TCU did in week 6 against A&M on that just no. But That's what it takes, man. And that's why, as a Bears fan, you should be damn ass happy that Ben Johnson is doing it. You know what Flus was doing during this time? He's probably taking care of the bees and figuring out a way to emphasize the hits principle. This guy's it just feels different, man. It's very different over there at good old Hallis Hall these days. Let's be honest. No shot at the Flus, even though that was kind of another shot at the Flus. Too much.
That was definitely a shot at the Flus.
It was a huge shot at the Flus. I'm so happy the Flus is gone. The Flus.
What if the whole bees thing was like not even like they're like, let's just throw this into Hard Knocks. It's a thing that's here, but it really wasn't. Yeah.
The bees were actually one of my favorite things about Flus. And by the way, remind me, I've got a great snidbit at the end of the show that somehow correlates to bees. I'll put it in my head. Thank you. I believe, but good on Ben, man. I'm sure, that guy crushes a spreadsheet. I bet the pillows are like, I bet you, how many nights do you think that Ben Johnson sleeps before cleaning the sheets? Feels like a 3-nighter. Like most people are, it's at least a week. I think Ben. Do you think that the second that Ben gets out of bed, he's instantly making the bed?
No, I don't. That's not. No.
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 Okay. All right, I'm off the rails here. Hoge. You bring us
Yeah,
back.
you are. But you had me thinking there that I'm doing something wrong on the sheet side of things, and then I'm just like, you know what? Of all the things I worry about every day, that's not one of them. So
No, I don't trust your sheets. I think you're a lazy sheet guy. Braggs probably hasn't changed his sheets in 5 weeks. Probably never in his marriage. I bet you Jenny's done it every single time. Not a chance he's ever changed his sheets and or made the bed is my bet.
Greg looks like he just woke up and rolled out of his sheets. What's going on here?
I was in the pool trying to do a bit where I was going to do our final OTA show from the pool, and my internet wouldn't log into my laptop, so I had to make a call, and I came to the garage.
Segue to the garage move. You look fantastic. You look relaxed. You look like you're having a great day.
Got a drink in hand, enjoying the show. You guys are doing a great job. Somebody's got to work today.
What's in the drink there, Chauncey?
A little bit of whiskey. We're back.
We're back.
I've been off the wagon for a while now, but I had to test drive it a little bit, and I might have taken a little test drive on our golf outing because we're going to Florida. So I got to have some drinks while we're down in Florida here in a couple days.
Yeah, Braggs will be off starting Thursday/today.
Yep. Oh, exactly.
All right. I got one more thing from Caleb we wanted to play. It's Ben Johnson talking about Caleb, and then we can kind of all bring this together and we'll get Bragg's thoughts on everything he's heard and witnessed today on some of our nonsense. But how about Mark Carman coming in big today with back-to-back questions to Ben Johnson on QB1?
Is there anything specifically stood out like, well, that really impresses me with Caleb?
There's always a throw or two every single day. The movement stuff outside of the pocket. It's what we thought coming into town here was the ability to create. And I don't, sometimes you get wrapped up when you're in the multiple play call game, being in the perfect play all the time for the perfect coverage, that look of the defense, and really with him, it doesn't matter so much what the play call is. If it's the perfect play versus the first, then it's great, it's there. And if it's not, then he's able to find a way to make it work. And so I think there's a little bit of that's going on right now and figuring that out. But he's done a great job so far digesting. He's working hard, and there's still some hiccups out there when you're watching it, some turnovers or needs to play one more time, and that's part of the growing process.
You sort of look at it like if he can play on time, then he'll take off?
I think he's going to play on time when the receivers present themselves that way. And if they're not there, if number one or number two is not there, I think he's got the ability to make it right for us.
What'd you think of that?
I got multiple reactions to that. I mean, one is a deeper sort of translating some of that. Well, I'm pretty sure what he means by the multi-play thing was like, so Jared Goff was not going to create after the play broke down, right? He's just not, that's not really his game. But you could send him to the line of scrimmage and say, if we get this look, we're running this play. If we get this look, we're running this play. And Jared Goff will get you in the right play. And he would execute it. Caleb, before he ever gets to that point, and you heard it from him, like they're trying that stuff. But Caleb's he's got the raw ability to scramble and make a play out of nothing if nothing's there. So you're going to want to lean into that sometimes. But also he's a second-year player and doesn't have the experience of Jared Goff. So you got to be careful about how much of that you actually put on his plate. So that, I think, is the feeling out process that Ben Johnson was kind of talking about there. And then that last good follow-up, Carm, that last answer was like, well, I think basically if the guys get open, I think he's going to be on time. Putting on the wide receivers a little bit.
It was interesting to me because I'm like, are you giving him a pass there, or is that how he sees it? I
don't think it's a
go
pass. I don't think it's a pass. I think it's an acknowledgement for Ben that this is a quarterback that he's really never coached before and is able to do things outside of the pocket when a play breaks down. He said at that one point in the answer, yeah, if we have the perfect play called up, we're going to run it. But he's able to do things outside of structure when a play breaks down. So that gives him another element of opportunity to move the chains offensively. Now, from a coaching standpoint, how do you coach that up from your team? How do you make sure that you're doing scramble drills the correct way to develop that chemistry when a play breaks down, where guys are supposed to go and what Caleb's supposed to be looking at? So I think this is going to be a big learning process for Ben to try to understand his tendencies, which way he likes to get outside of the pocket. I mean, Mark, you said, I think on a previous show, when it's got to have it on third down, he scrambles to his left, right? Isn't that what you said? And then he scrambles to his right on some of the other ones. So, maybe you can expound on that, but like that, those are the kind of things that I think Ben Johnson is going to have to work through at training camp.
I mean, he mostly scrambles to his right. I think a lot of times he's coming out of the pocket, but the best throws that he makes is what it was interesting to me what Ben said there, because it's exactly what we see on the move. He will make an incredible throw every time you seem to watch him, where he's going and he's in trouble, and somehow, some way, he finds someone, or even if he's just in the pocket and he just absolutely fires a P. That's like, there are not a lot of guys that can put that level of velocity on the football and put it right where it needs to be.
Like the one to Joel Wilson today in the back of the end zone.
I mean, it's like, Jesus, that guy, that's a big time play. But and he also just on the left part, like I think he wants to go right, Braggs, to answer it, but I think sometimes he's got to go left, and where he's running left and he jumps up and throws against his body, he's awful comfortable making that throw too.
I've never really noticed a preference left or right or anything like that.
Maybe
I think he's shown the ability to do both, so I'm not that worried about it.
Yeah, well, that's true. I just think the natural progression of plays is that he'll end up rolling right more often. It's a little more intuitive, if you will. I don't know.
Are you taking shots at the left tackles? Is that what you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Probably. I mean, you could see that way, so you're more apt to go that way versus.
No, I got you. I got you. Plus, it's easier to throw going to your right usually than against the grain, but that's one of the things that Caleb's been really good at, showing that he can throw against the grain and make some incredible plays. So I think that was super insightful because, look, as a play caller, you want to be right every play, and it's impossible to be right every play because that would mean the defensive coordinator is wrong on every play, and it's a cat and mouse game the entire time. But so you're trying to equip your quarterback with as many answers as possible. And so sometimes if you're a quarterback that can handle 2 plays and you got a whole offense that can handle 2 plays and handle the checks and handle the adjustments at the line of scrimmage based on the look they're getting pre-snap, then you're more likely going to be in the right play. But some guys can't handle that or don't need all that because they're just superhuman when the play breaks down, and the quarterback can correct you as the play caller. But Ben Johnson, as we kind of deep dive in the mindset of Ben Johnson here a little bit deeper, including the stuff we just talked about with his offseason plans, he probably is a guy that just wants to know he's always in the right play and not have to worry about the quarterback making his wrong play be right. And so I just think this is a feeling out process where, like, even he's going to have to learn, I got to let this go a little bit because Caleb can do all these special things post snap.
Yep.
I don't have much of a follow-up other than the fact that I'm really excited and just interested as to how their relationship will develop as they get really into the weeds here. And okay, now we had
trust.
Now we had this preseason game, and you were good here, and you were not good there, and you made the same mistake here, and you do that again, we're gonna have a problem. It'll be. I don't anticipate it's going to be, and it shouldn't be. That's fine. I don't think this road's going to be smooth. I think we're going to have a nice, solid, rocky road, and hopefully at some point it'll be like Flight. That's what I think it's going to be. Denzel Washington showing up drunk and high on cocaine, but somehow, some way pushed through the clouds and then got to a nice, even flowing thing. That's what I think. That's how I think the takeoff of the season is going to be. He's just going to keep going, and then boom.
So the Bears are going to land the plane upside down.
Well, forget about that part of it. I'm just get to the part of the smooth sailing part, and then
Did you see that movie?
Yeah, and maybe I forgot. I was just focusing on the first part where they get to this, and then he goes to bed and takes a nap. Forget about the fact where the plane, everything falls off the
in
plane.
His clean sheets.
I think the best example of that though is not the drinking and cocaine and crashing a plane. But the best example that we've seen.
Other than that was a great analogy.
Aside of that whole analogy, I do think what we're talking about here, and an example of what we've already seen here in shorts, not in pads yet, but when he made the big play down the sidelines to DJ Moore, and Ben Johnson was like, "You can't do that." At least that's what you guys reported on. So there's gonna be a lot of moments, I think, in training camp and in the regular season where Caleb might make some heroic, acrobatic, unbelievable play, but Ben Johnson's design and like saying, "Hey, yeah, you made that play, but that was the wrong thing to do," and finding the balance of allowance of that and not letting it get out of control.
All right, let's get to Snidbits and shout outs and super chats here. My first Snidbit though is going to be on Ruben Hippolyte's hat today. He came to the podium wearing a hat I hadn't seen before. And before the press conference was over, apparently Crystal was texting Carm about how I'm just late on this. But that's fine. That's fine. So this hat, and I should have the brand in front of me and I don't. I'll bring it up here in a second. I zoomed in on my own picture because I couldn't read what it said. It's a bear. If you're listening to the podcast, he had a bear on his hat. It's like a trucker hat. And then there was a word. And so I took a photo of him and literally zoomed in on it. And it said defense. And I asked him about it. And he said that, there's this company that makes these hats. And I looked at it a little bit closer. They all seem to be like sort of like NFL themed, but not licensed NFL hats. But like, so there's another Panther one, for example. He said he's got that one too. But he bought this hat 3 weeks before the draft. So 3 weeks before the Bears actually drafted him, he bought a hat with a bear on it that said defense. That was the word that said defense. And I knew there had to be a story in there somewhere. So that was just super interesting that
Crystal's claiming that she had maybe that hat or a similar hat because she was wearing one at the tailgate. She's saying here in the chat.
Yeah.
So
well, apparently these hats have been around.
Yeah.
Cool.
Crystal always ahead of the game.
Gorin Bros.
Yeah.
Gorin Bros Bear Trucker hat. It's called. It's a nice looking hat.
Yeah, you need that hat, Hoge, because apparently Krista wore it and you got all hyped, and now Ruben Hippolyte's wearing it, and you're hyped again. He kind of Ruben's a very likable Ruben, is what he is, and he's got good taste.
Yeah, you're gonna have to, Carm, start getting your hat advice from Crystal since she knows style. Because when you brought that hat back when you went to London for Wimbledon, you brought that hat back for me. That was the worst hat I've ever. Those are like the worst gift I've ever received.
When I gave you the London hat?
Yeah.
Yeah, though that was a
He
hand-me-down.
kept like hyping it. I got a gift for you, Braggs. I'm like, oh, that's nice of him. I'm so excited for it. And then that's what I got. It was terrible.
Was
It
it
was a
worse?
hand-me-down.
Was it worse
It was
than
a-
the hat he wore to the golf outing?
Essentially, that's what it was, the shirt, but in a hat style. It was the shirt he was wearing, but as a hat.
I forget. Either I bought it in a souvenir shop because I think that you always buy things in a souvenir shop to give it to you, and as a gaff, and or it was a hand-me-down. I just gave it to you. But I love you. Know that.
All I'm picturing is that if it's the same as the shirt, I'm picturing one of those hats that has like the spinny thing on top too.
Yeah, exactly. It might as well have been.
Yeah,
that's embarrassing. Also, I feel like I sold a lot of hats for this company today.
You probably did. At least 3. Although, according to our MVP softball player, Crystal, shout out to Crystal and her performance last night. First time ever in the field. Still working on learning the game. That's okay. Wow. I think the hats are sold out. Crystal's just out there to have a good time. Supporting
But that's my point. I looked earlier, they were not sold out. So
oh, okay. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned that softball's 4-0 and we're sponsored by the store 2002 North Halstead. Go in there, hang out with Kevin Naked Man. Place is the greatest. Private parties and events, drink menu, the whole thing. Love it. 4-0 Hoge, 21-1 yesterday. Can I just say this real fast?
Your run differential sounds like it's like 300.
Yesterday's, I mean this in the, is that Addie back there? I mean this in the nicest way possible. What's up, Addison?
Hi, Addie.
Look at no teeth. Looking like Duncan Keith. All right, get out of here.
Nice. Hockey.
This team yesterday, we took the field and they didn't put anybody up to bat. And we're standing there waiting for them to send someone up to bat. And I was like, now it's time that you send up a batter. And then like they scramble around and then somebody runs up there and the game starts. 3 up, 3 down, they're done. We come in and they don't take the field. And I was like, I literally walked to the dugout. I'm like, and now you take the field. And they ran out there. There were like 7 people in right field, a couple standing over there. And I'm like, I don't get it. How do you sign up for softball league and not know how to run out to your positions and stuff like that? And anyway, it was 21-1. They scored a run. I'll leave the name out of there.
It sounds like the worst softball league in the history of softball.
Now there's some teams can play and some
you're just discrediting your own winning.
Well, I'm telling you, the top of the league is competitive, and then the bottom of the league should. I mean, it should split into 2 leagues.
This is like when fans chant overrated at their opponent. All you're doing is lowering the quality of your own victory. It's a dumb chant. Don't do that. No, you played the greatest softball team ever yesterday, and you beat them 21-1. That's what you should be saying.
We are incredible.
Yeah.
I was amazing in right field, batting 9th. Thank you.
All right, and also nobody cares. All right, let's get to super chats. Caleb, please, $4.99. Are you guys concerned about Ben's trick play attempts in important situations like JMO downfield interception 4th quarter versus Washington in the playoffs? Will he be more tame? I'd rather have a head coach be aggressive than not be aggressive. I like the trick plays. They're not all going to work. That's why they're called trick plays. That was a bad one at a bad time. It did not work out. Did not help the Lions win. I also don't think it was the main reason why they lost that game. I think the overall examples of Ben Johnson's trick plays led to a lot more success than failures for that team, and I hope it continues for the Bears.
I really, 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 really hope that we're yelling on the show one time that he was too creative. I hope that happens. That'd be amazing. I hope that's our problem. It'd be a way different land to live in. That'd be great. So no, I'm not worried.
All right. Steve C's $4.99 says bear down from Minnesota. Not sure why Carl gets hate. Dude is gorgeous.
Carl Williams?
I don't know what that means.
I think he's talking about Carm.
Oh, Carm.
Oh, thank you, Steve. I hope you are. I've been working on it. You know, 3 days away from my first Botox.
All right, Bears on Kauai. I loved how Braggs jumped right past nicotine to tapering off crack the other day. LOL.
Now back.
That got weird.
Yeah.
Now
Well,
back.
All right.
I'm glad we read that after Addison and Jenny drove away. You missed it. I muted just so you guys wouldn't hear everything going on behind me, but Jenny's leaving with Addie and she's screaming at her in the front yard. I almost put it on video. It was
That would have been so good.
That would have been awesome.
uh,
It would have been better if she was screaming at you, though.
yeah.
All right, that's going to do it for today's Bears OTA recap show. We will be back in studio tomorrow, normal time, noon Central. We'll kind of probably take a big picture look at everything we've witnessed and observed over the last few days, weeks, I should say. And then Braggs will leave us for Florida.
I'll be leaving you at C Block tomorrow.
That's fine. Good for you.
You're not
I'm
going
happy for
anywhere. You're staying the whole damn show. We're strapping you in. And you're going to provide some elite commentary tomorrow for at least 68 minutes. I believe in you, buddy.
All right.
All right.
Go.
All right.
Go
We will talk
Cubs.
to you. Are they going to actually win today? We'll figure that
They
out.
better because I'm stressed out.
Cubs will win for Braggs. We'll talk to you tomorrow, noon Central. See you then.
We all silly like the mayor.